Is my voice audible, by the way?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu, it's okay.
So I'll share my screen now, and then you can all read from there.
Yes. I can do the Mangalacharan if possible.
Mm, Does any of you remember where we left off?
I think it's mantra 17. Is it the last one? Maybe it's the last one. Page oh, what it is? Yeah, mantra 17, page 141.
I think we finished this purport already, right?
Yes, Prabhu. But remember to chant the Mangalachan prayers. Bhagavad Gita
Mantra
introduction.
17. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So who would like to begin reading?
I can. I mean, have you started sharing your screen, by the way? Oh, the show has left.
Visible? Is the screen visible? Okay.
Oh, sorry. I think I left the meeting.
Oh,
So does anyone remember where we left off? I think Mantra 17 is it, according to Pranjal
yeah,
Prabhu.
17.
Okay.
Yes,
So who would like to begin?
17. I like to begin, but first we got to do the Mangalacharan, right? So,
Oh, yes, Prabhu. Just one second. Mm, uh, So who would like to chant the Mangalacharan prayers?
I can chant.
Yes, Prabhu. Please go on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणललिता सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 विष्णु हरे कृष्ण और प्रधान
I think Karthik Prabhu wanted to begin, right?
yes bro yes just
Good
let me know my
evening.
voice is audible because the Wi-Fi is too slow here now. So yeah.
It's okay, Prabhu. So for the time being, we can hear you.
Okay, so I can read, yes?
So whenever you're ready, Prabhu, you can chant the mantra and
Yes,
then
okay.
continue.
Right, right. Mantra 17. Right. Vayuranilam amritam
Yes,
athedham
Prabhu.
bashmantam shariram om krato smara kritam smara krato smara kritam smara. Wow, I don't know the what do you say, the tune. So I have speculated like crazy, but okay. You can go to the word for word. Vayuhu, air of life. Anilam, total reservoir of air. Amritam, indestructible. Atha, now. Idam, this. Bhash, mantam, after being turned into ashes. Shariram, body. Om, O Lord. Prato, O enjoyer of all sacrifices. Mara, please remember. Kritam, all that has been done by me. Mara, please remember. Prato, O supreme beneficiary. Mara, please remember. Kritam, all that I have done for you. Mara, please remember. Translation: let this temporary body be burnt to ashes, and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. Purport: the temporary material body is certainly a foreign dress. The Bhagavad Gita 2.20 clearly says that after the destruction of the material body, the living entity is not annihilated, nor does he lose his identity. The identity of the living entity is never impersonal or formless. On the contrary, it is the material dress that is formless and that takes a shape according to the form of the indestructible person. No living entity is originally formless, as is wrongly thought by those with a poor fund of knowledge. This mantra verifies the fact that the living entity exists after the annihilation of the material body. In the material world, material nature displays wonderful workmanship by creating
I think we
varieties of
lost you,
bodies.
Prabhu.
Oh,
Or
is it?
maybe,
Hare Krishna?
yeah, Prabhu, yeah, we
Prabhu?
can hear you, I think now.
Previously, you were able to hear me, right?
Yes, yes, Prabhu, we can hear you now. Before you, I think we lost you.
Okay, right. This mantra verifies that the fact that the living entity exists after the annihilation of the material body. In the material world, material nature displays wonderful workmanship by creating varieties of bodies for the living beings according to their propensities of sense gratification. The living entity who wants to taste stool is given a material body that is quite suitable for eating stool, that of a hog. Similarly, one who wants to eat the flesh and the blood of other animals may be given a tiger's body equipped with suitable teeth and claws. But the human being is not meant for eating flesh, nor does he have any desire to taste stool, even in the most aboriginal state. Human teeth are so made that they can chew and cut fruit and vegetables. Although there are two canine teeth, so that primitive humans can eat flesh if they so desire. Hmm. Okay, there are two canine teeth, so that primitive humans. Okay.
But some don't have
But
them.
in a, is it? Some don't have, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhu.
Right, right, right. Hmm. But in any case, the material bodies of all animals and men are foreign to the living entity. They change according to the living entity's desire for sense gratification. In the cycle of evolution, the living entity changes bodies one after another. When the World War was full of water, World War, wow, you see how much my consciousness is disturbed by war? When I see world, the next thing is war, wow. When the world was full of water, the living entity took an aquatic form. Then he passed to vegetable life, from vegetable life to worm life, from worm life to bird life, from bird life to animal life, from animal life to human form. The highest developed form is this human form where, when it is possessed of a full sense of spiritual knowledge. The highest development of one's spiritual sense is described in this mantra. One should give up the material body, which will be turned to ashes, and allow the air of life to merge into the eternal reservoir of air. The living being's activities are performed within the body through the movements of different kinds of air. known in summary as pranavayu. The yogis generally study how to control the airs of the body. The soul is supposed to rise from one circle of air to another until it rises to the Brahma Randhra, the highest circle. From that point, the perfect yogi can transfer himself to any planet he likes. The process is to give up one material body and then enter into another. But the highest perfection of such change occurs only when the living entity is able to give up the material body altogether, as suggested in this mantra, and enter into the spiritual atmosphere, where he can develop a completely different type of body, a spiritual body, which never has to meet death or change. Here in the material world, material nature forces the living entity to change his body due to his different desires for sense gratification. These desires are represented in the various species of life, from germs to the most perfected material bodies, those of Brahma and the demigods. All of these living entities have bodies composed of matter in different shapes. The intelligent man sees oneness not in the variety of the bodies, but in the spiritual identity. The spiritual spark, which is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is the same whether he is in the body of a hog or in the body of a demigod. The living entity takes on different bodies according to his pious and vicious activities. The human body is highly developed and has full consciousness. According to the Bhagavad Gita 7.19, the most perfect man surrenders unto the Lord after many, many lifetimes of culturing knowledge. The culture of knowledge reaches perfection only when the knower comes to the point of surrendering unto the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. Otherwise, even after attaining knowledge of one's spiritual identity, if one does not come to the point of knowing that the living entities are eternal parts and parcels of the whole and can never become the whole, one has to fall down again to the material atmosphere. Okay, 1 minute. Just want to read that para again, Prabhu. Can you just go up? The human body is highly developed and has full consciousness. According to the Bhagavad Gita, the most perfect man surrenders unto the Lord after many, many lifetimes of culture and knowledge. The culture of knowledge reaches perfection only when the knower comes to the point of surrendering unto the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. Otherwise, even after attaining knowledge of one's spiritual identity, one does not come to the point of knowing that the living entities are parts and parcel of the whole and can never become the whole. One has to fall down again into the material atmosphere. This refers to the Brahman realization, right? To come back down. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Indeed, yeah, correct. The next, you see, the next line is, indeed, one must fall down even if he has become one with the Brahma Jyoti. As we have learned from previous mantras, the Brahma Jyoti emanating from the transcendental body of the Lord is full of spiritual sparks that are individual entities with the full sense of existence. Sometimes these living entities want to enjoy their senses, and therefore they are placed in the material world to become false lords under the dictation of the senses. The desire for lordship is the material disease of the living being. For under the spell of sense enjoyment, he transmigrates to the various bodies manifested in the material world. Becoming one with the Brahmajyoti does not represent mature knowledge. Only by surrendering unto the Lord completely and developing one's sense of spiritual service does one reach the highest perfectional stage. In this mantra, the living entity prays to enter the spiritual kingdom of God after relinquishing his material body and material air. The devotee prays to the Lord to remember his activities and the sacrifices he has performed before his material body is turned into ashes. He makes his prayer at the time of death with full consciousness of his past deeds and the ultimate goal. One who is completely under the rule of material nature remembers the heinous activities he performed during the existence of his material body, and consequently, he gets another material body after death. The Bhagavad Gita 8.6 confirms this truth. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajay tyajati. How do you pronounce this? Tyajati, is it?
Tyajatyante.
I'm sorry.
Tyajat Tyajat Yante. Tyajat
Tyajat
Yante.
ante.
Yeah.
Right? Tyajat ante kalevaram.
No, no,
Tam tam.
Tyajat Yante. The Y has to be as if continuing the
Right. With
flow.
the A.
Yeah, so
Tyajat
Tyajat Yante.
yante.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Tyajat yante. Right?
Yes, Prabhu, continue.
Yeah. Kalevaram. Tam tam eva iti kaunteya sada tat bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Thus, the mind carries the living entity's propensities into the next life. Unlike the simple animals who have no developed mind, the dying human being can remember the activities of his life like dreams at night. Therefore, his mind remains surcharged with material desires, and consequently, he cannot enter into the spiritual kingdom with its spiritual body. Just a minute. Spiritual body, yes. Devotees, however, develop a sense of love for God by practicing devotional service to the Lord. Even if at the time of death a devotee does not remember his service to the Lord does not forget him. His prayer is given to remind the Lord of the devotee's sacrifices. But even if there is no such reminder, the Lord does not forget the service rendered by his pure devotee. Unlike the simple animals, Prabhu, just that one part again. It's very interesting actually, the top one. Yeah. Unlike the simple animals who have no developed mind, the dying human can remember. See, the dying human can remember his activities of life like dreams at night. So it's like a replay. When he's dying, all these things, what he did is like a replay in his mind, like fast forward replay kind of. And therefore, his mind remains surcharged with material desires, and consequently, he cannot enter into the spiritual kingdom with a spiritual body. Right. Yes. Okay, Prabhu. The Lord clearly describes his intimate relationship with his devotees in the Bhagavad Gita 9:30 to 34. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains these verses in this way. One should regard a devotee of Krishna to be on the right path of the saints. Even though such a devotee may seem to be Sudachara, a person of loose character, one should try to understand the real purport of the word Sudachara. The conditioned soul has to act for double functions, namely for the maintenance of the body and again for self-realization. Social status, mental development, cleanliness, austerity, nourishment, and the struggle for existence are all for the maintenance of the body. Okay, wait. Social status, mental development, cleanliness, austerity, nourishment, and struggle for existence are all for the maintenance of the body. The self-realization part of one's activities is executed in one's occupation as a devotee of the Lord, and one performs actions in that connection also. One must perform these two different functions along parallel lines because a conditioned soul cannot give up the maintenance of his body. The proportion of activities for maintenance of the body decreases, however, in proportion to increase in devotional service. Hmm, right. As long as the proportion of devotional service does not come to the right point, there is chance for an occasional exhibition of worldliness. But it should be noted that such worldliness cannot continue for long. By the grace of the Lord, such imperfections will come to an end very shortly. Therefore, the path of devotional service is the only right path. If one is on the right path, even an occasional occurrence of worldliness does not hamper one in the advancement of self-realization. Amazing purport, wow. Like it's just an
Yes,
explanation of the
Prabhu.
930 verse, like parallelly, but unless you come to the right point of devotional service, sometime there might be fall down. But since devotional service is the right path, by the grace of the Lord, he'll come out. Wow, very nice.
Yes, Prabhu.
Haribol. Every time you read new, you get like new realizations.
Yes,
The
Prabhu.
facilities of devotional service are denied. Yeah, the facilities of devotional service are denied the impersonalists, but denied the impersonalists because they are attached to the Brahmajyoti feature of the Lord. As suggested in the previous mantras, they cannot penetrate the Brahmajyoti because they do not believe in the personality of Godhead. The business is mostly word jugglery and mental speculation. Consequently, the impersonalists pursue a fruitless labor as confirmed in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita 12.5. All the facilities suggested in this mantra can be easily obtained by constant contact with the personal feature of the Absolute Truth. Devotional service to the Lord consists essentially of 9 transcendental activities: hearing about the Lord, glorifying the Lord, remembering the Lord, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, worshipping the Lord, offering prayers to the Lord, serving the Lord, enjoying friendly associations with the Lord, and surrendering everything unto the Lord. These 9 principles of devotional service, taken all together or one by one, help a devotee remain constantly in touch with God. In this way, at the end of life, it is easy for the devotees to remember the Lord. By adopting only one of these 9 principles, the following renowned devotees of the Lord were able to achieve the highest perfection. By hearing of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit, the hero of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained the desired result. Just by glorifying the Lord, Shukadeva Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained his perfection. By praying to the Lord, Akrura attained the desired result. By remembering the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj attained the desired result. By worshipping the Lord, Prithu Maharaj attained perfection. By serving the lotus feet of the Lord, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, attained perfection. 7. By rendering personal service to the Lord, Hanuman attained the desired result. 8. Through his friendship with the Lord, Arjuna attained the desired result. 9. By surrendering everything he had to the Lord, Maharaj Bali attained the desired result. Actually, the explanation of this mantra and of practically all mantras of Vedic hymns is summarized in the Vedanta Sutra and properly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the mature fruit of the Vedic tree of wisdom. In Srimad Bhagavatam, this particular mantra is explained in the questions and answers between Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadeva Goswami at the very beginning of the meeting. Hearing and chanting of the signs of God is a basic principle of devotional life. The complete Bhagavatam was heard by Maharaj Parikshit and chanted by Shukadeva Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Shukadeva because Shukadeva was a greater spiritual master than any great yogi or transcendentalist of his time. Maharaj Parikshit's main question was, what is the duty of every man, specifically at the time of death? Shukadeva Goswami answered, Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavyaha Kirtitavascha Smartavyash. Oh, how do you spell the last? I mean, how do you pronounce the last syllable?
स्मर्तव्यश्चेच्छताभयम्
Smartavyash Chet
चेच्छताभयम्.
Chatabayam. Is it?
Yes, Babu.
Okay. Everyone who desires to be free from all anxiety should always hear about, glorify, and remember the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme director of everything, the extinguisher of all difficulties, and the super soul of all living entities. So, Prabhu, anyone would like to continue? So, who all joined? Let me see. Aditya Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Gaur Shakti Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisance. Vivek Prabhu, Pranjal Prabhu, Dhanut Nam, Jai Shri
Hare Krishna Gora Shakti
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Prabhus, please accept my humble obeisances, O Gaishla Prabhupada.
And now, Prabhu, Jai Shri Prabhu. Would you like to continue reading, Prabhu?
Vivek Prabhu Tandar Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. Oh, nice
Oh,
speech.
yes, I can read for 10 minutes.
Very nice, Prabhu. Please continue from the following.
So we are so-called, okay, just 1 minute. So-called human societies generally engage at night in sleeping and having sex, and during the daytime in earning as much money as possible, or else in shopping for family maintenance. People have very little time to talk about the personality of Godhead or to inquire about Him. They have dismissed God's in existence in so many ways, primarily by declaring Him to be impersonal, that is, without sense perception. But in the Vedic literature, whether the Upanishad, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, or Srimad Bhagavatam, it is declared that the Lord is a sentient being and is supreme over all other living entity. His glorious activities are identical with himself. One should therefore not indulge in hearing and speaking of the rubbish activities of worldly politicians and so-called big men in society, but should mold his life in such a way that he can engage in godly activities without wasting a second. Sri Isopanisad direct us toward such godly activities. Unless one is accustomed to devotional practice, what will he remember at the time of death, when the body is dislocated, and how can he pray to the Almighty Lord to remember his sacrifice? Sacrifice means denying the interest of the senses. One has to learn this art by employing the senses in the service of the Lord during one's lifetime. One can utilize the result of such practice at the time of death.
Very bold. Would you like to
Mantra.
continue with the next one also, Prabhu?
Yes, I can read just a little.
Okay.
Then I can give others to read also.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes.
Maybe what you can do is you can chant the verse for us and then you can give to someone else.
Yes, I will try.
Please chant.
So mantra 18. Agenaya supata laye asman vishvani devava yunani vidvan yuyodyashmad juhulana menom bush bhuyishtam te nama uktim videma.
Very bold. Very nice, Prabhu.
Thank you very
Any
much
more?
for
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Please, thank
thank
you so
you.
much for reading, Prabhu.
Yes.
Very bold.
Vancha Kalpatarubycha Kripasindubhya Vacha Pachitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
So, I would like to continue from the synonyms. Maybe Aditya Prabhu would like to continue from the synonyms. Agne, O my Lord, as powerful as fire. Naya, kindly lead. Okay, no problem, Aditya Prabhu. Agne, O my Lord, as powerful as fire. Naya, kindly lead. Supatha, by the right path. Rai, for reaching you. Asman, us. Vishwani, all. Deva, O my Lord. Vayunani, actions. Vidwan, the knower. Yuyudhi, kindly remove. Asmat, from us. Juhuranam, all hindrances on the path. Enaha, all vices. Bhuyishtham, most numerous. Te, unto you. Namaha uktim, words of obeisance. Vidhema, I do. Translation. O my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisances, falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you, and since you know all that I have done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins so that there will be no hindrance to my progress. Purport. By surrendering to the Lord and praying for his causeless mercy, the devotee can progress on the path of complete self-realization. The Lord is addressed as fire because he can burn anything into ashes, including the sins of the surrendered soul. As described in the previous mantras, the real or ultimate aspect of the Absolute is his feature as the personality of Godhead, and his impersonal Brahmajyoti feature is a dazzling covering of his face. Fruitive activities or the karma kand path of self-realization is the lowest stage in this endeavor. As soon as such activities even slightly deviate from the regulative principles of the Vedas, they are transformed into vikarma or acts against the interest of the actor. Such vikarma is enacted by the illusion living entity simply for sense gratification, and thus such activities become hindrances on the path of self-realization. Self-realization is possible in the human form of life, but not in other forms. There are 8,400,000 species or forms of life, of which the human form, qualified by Brahminical culture, presents the only chance to obtain knowledge of transcendence. Brahminical culture includes truthfulness, sense control, forbearance, simplicity, full knowledge, and full faith in God. It is not that one simply becomes proud of his high parentage. Just as being born the son of a big man affords one a chance to become a big man, so being born the son of a Brahmana gives one a chance to become a Brahmana. But such a birthright is not everything, for one still has to attain the Brahminical qualifications for himself. As soon as one becomes proud of his birth as the son of a Brahman and neglects to acquire the qualifications of a real Brahman, he at once becomes degraded and falls from the path of self realization. Thus, his life's mission as a human being is defeated. In the Bhagavad Gita 6.41 to 42, we are assured by the Lord that the Yoga Bhrashtas, or souls fallen from the path of self realization, are given a chance to rectify themselves by taking birth either in the families of a good Brahman or of good Brahmanas or in the families of rich merchants. Such births afford higher chances for self realization. If these chances are misused due to illusion, one loses the good opportunity of human life afforded by the Almighty Lord. The regulative principles are such that one who follows them is promoted from the platform of fruitive activities to the platform of transcendental knowledge. After many lifetimes of cultivating transcendental knowledge, one becomes perfect when he surrenders unto the Lord. This is the general procedure. But one who surrenders at the very beginning, as recommended in this mantra, at once surpasses all preliminary stages simply by adopting the devotional attitude. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 18.66, the Lord at once takes charge of such a surrendered soul and frees him from all the reactions to his sinful acts. There are many sinful reactions involved in karma kand activities, whereas in jnana kand, the path of philosophical development, the number of such sinful activities is smaller. But in devotional service to the Lord, the path of bhakti, there is practically no chance of incurring sinful reactions. One who is a devotee of the Lord attains all the good qualifications of the Lord himself, what to speak of those of a Brahman. So a devotee automatically attains the qualifications of an expert Brahman authorized to perform sacrifices, even though the devotee may not have taken his birth in a Brahman family. Such is the omnipotence of the Lord. He can make a man born in a Brahman family as degraded as a low-born dog-eater, and he can also make a low-born dog-eater superior to a qualified Brahman simply on the strength of devotional service. Since the omnipotent Lord is situated within the heart of everyone, he can give directions to his sincere devotees by which they can attain the right path. Such directions are especially offered to the devotee, even if he desires something else. As far as others are concerned, God gives sanction to the doer only at the risk of the doer. But in the case of a devotee, the Lord directs him in such a way that he never acts wrongly. The Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.42 says, Swapada moolam bhajataha priyasya tyaktanya bhavasya harihi pareshah vikarmayat chot patitam kathanchid dhunoti sarvam hridi sannyavishtha. The Lord is so kind to the devotee who is fully surrendered to his lotus feet that even though the devotee sometimes falls into the entanglement of vikarma, acts against the Vedic directions, the Lord at once rectifies such mistakes from within his heart. This is because the devotees are very dear to the Lord. In this mantra of Sri Isopanisad, the devotee prays to the Lord to rectify him from within his heart. To err is human. A conditioned soul is very often apt to commit mistakes, and the only remedial measure to take act against such unintentional sins is to give oneself up to the lotus feet of the Lord so that he may guide one to avoid such pitfalls. The Lord takes charge of fully surrendered souls. Thus, all problems are solved simply by surrendering oneself unto the Lord and acting in terms of his directions. Such directions are given to the sincere devotee in two ways. One is by way of the saints, scriptures, and spiritual master, and the other is by way of the Lord himself, who resides within the heart of everyone. Thus, the devotee, fully enlightened with Vedic knowledge, is protected in all respects. Vedic knowledge is transcendental and cannot be understood by mundane educational procedures. One can understand the Vedic mantras only by the grace of the Lord and the spiritual master. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru. So if one takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, It is to be understood that he has obtained the grace of the Lord. The Lord appears as the spiritual master for the devotee, and thus the spiritual master, the Vedic injunctions, and the Lord himself from within all guide the devotee in full strength. In this way, there is no chance for a devotee to fall again into the mire of material illusion. The devotee, thus protected all around, is sure to reach the ultimate destination of perfection. The entire process is hinted at in this mantra, and Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 20 explains it further. Hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord is itself an act of piety. The Lord wants everyone to hear and chant his glories because he is the well-wisher of all living entities. By hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, one becomes cleansed of all undesirable things, and then one's own devotion becomes fixed upon the Lord. At this stage, the devotee acquires the Brahminical qualifications, and the effects of the lower modes of nature, passion, and ignorance completely vanish. The devotee becomes fully enlightened by virtue of his devotional service, and thus he comes to know the path of the Lord and the way to attain him. As all doubts diminish, he becomes a pure devotee. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Isopanisad, the knowledge that brings one nearer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai.
Very good. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank
Haribo.
you. Hari Bol.
Oh, it was all Isopanisad.
Hari Bol.
So we start Nectar of Instruction.
Yes, Prabhu.
Haribo. Yeah, it's all ready. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Prabhu Dandar Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Zero Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances, long glory to Prabhupada. So this book actually is finally designed very nicely. The text also here on the cover page is a little bit different because it's also like this in the hardcover as well. So I made it like this only. And here also, and then even added this also, this nice one, which is basically also in the original anyway. So yeah. Okay. And there are paintings as well.
Oh, very nice. Yes, Prabhu. Tomorrow we start this.
Yes.
The chant Shikshastakam prayers also.
Yes, Prabhu. But there's some very nice paintings though. We can always look at them.
Prabhu, you added that pictures or already there?
Sorry?
That pictures you added or already it was there?
Added in the sense like, because they were in the hardcover, so I added them here as well. Like,
Very nice.
like
Prabhu.
yeah, because they were in the original copy, so I added them here as well, And they have some very nice pictures here, which we can
Nice,
use
Prabhu.
properly
Very
tomorrow.
nice.
Yeah. All right. So, Chanda Shikshashtakam. चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहा गावाग्निर्वापणं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्.
नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रार्पितानि अमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवम् ईदृशं ह्याजनिनानुरागः
नारपि कुनितेन तरोरपि प्रयत्नना मानेन मानवेन कीर्तने यातदारि
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवता भक्तिरहितकी त्वयि.
Ainandatanaja kinkaram pachitam ambishame bhavam bhutau Kripaya tava pada pankaja stitaduri sadrisham vichintayam.
नयनं
Nayanam
गतदशया दनं गद्गदास्तया गिरा पुलकर्णिचित् तव नाम
विलायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रार्वैषायितं संज्ञायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दं विरहेण मे
आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पिनष्टुमाम् अघर्षणान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः. Translation. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is a prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to the living beings, and thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. They are not even hard and fast rule for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy name, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Oh my, oh my light God, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your costless devotional service, death of after death.
O son of Maharajananda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I fallen into the ocean of somehow or other I fallen into ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your orders.
O Almighty Lord, O Son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I
Oh my
am
Lord,
your
when will my eyes
ultimate.
be decorated with tears flowing constantly when I... Oh.
Sorry, Prabhu, my connection is quite lagging. So,
Oh, that was already done, Prabhu. Oh, yeah, no problem. Constantly when I chant your holy name, when will my voice choke up and when will the hair of my body stand at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years more. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrent of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me, he is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Haribo. Sri Siksastakam ki jai.
Jai.
That
This first of
Bol Shri Shaktakam ki jai.
jai.
Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami ki
Jai. Always
Jai.
internet is lagging. First offense to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense, to consider
Sorry,
name
Prabhu.
of
Yeah, I
Lord
can.
Brahma and Lord Shiva to be equal to, independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense. To disobey the order of the spiritual master or consider him as an ordinary person.
Sorry, bro, which one, bro?
4.
Fourth one,
Or
Prabhu.
come on. To consider the come on, that one, huh? To consider that one, and
Blaspheme.
sorry. To blaspheme blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures which is come on. To blaspheme the scriptures, Vedic scriptures, come on, Vedic scriptures,
In pursuance.
in pursuance, Vedic knowledge, like it comes, come on.
To
Sorry,
consider
bro.
the to consider
To
the
blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in the pursuance to the Vedic version. Sorry.
You
to
consider
consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh one, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
Consider the chanting Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as activity Karmakanda.
Instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
We do not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema.
Pancha Kalpataru.
Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Pachitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Haribo, yes.
Thank you so much, devotees.
Haribo.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Saivura Premnand.
Thank you for your precious association, Prabhus.